I wanted to like this book so badly. You're about to watch me read The Song of the Marked by S.M. Gautier. This is the first book in the Shadows and Crowns series. I'm going to be updating you periodically with my thoughts as I'm reading the book. So let's go right to before I read the book. I think I had pretty decent expectations for this book. I've never heard of it before though, and I'm thinking maybe it's going to be like a hidden gem or something. I've never heard of the author, but I think the cover is really cool. It is published by Penguin Random House UK, and I mean, being one of the big five, I usually have high hopes if anything's published by them. And it just sounds up my alley, like that nice romantic-y kind of story. So from my understanding, this book follows our two characters, a mercenary named Cas, and she's pretty much doing this to help her mentor survive. So she's always just like doing all these really kind of nasty things to make some money, maybe buy medical supplies, I'm not entirely sure what that looks like, and then like make sure their mentor is okay. And then there's this captain of the guards named Elander, and he's apparently really arrogant, and so the kin of the kin guy is like, all right, we got this big reward, we need people to do XYZ. And so Elander and Cas end up working together. And I imagine that there'll be lots of like tension, because I'm pretty sure it's a romance story. And so they're gonna have to work together. And then there's like gods involved and magic and like all of that really good stuff that I enjoy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I know about the book. I do believe it has like multiple books in the series. Trying to find out if I can see it. Oh, it has a picture. That's cute. I didn't notice that. I'm pretty sure it has like a series. I'm pretty sure, because when I picked this one up, I had to make sure it was the first one. But it's nice because it actually says book 1 on it, and I like when authors do that because I have no idea what books are in a series if I just see them in the store, you know. So without further ado, let's read the first book in the Shadow and Crown series. So I'm now a little bit more than 100 pages into The Song of the Marked, and here are my thoughts so far. So far, so good. It's a little bit slower of a build-up, but because it's like this unique world, we're kind of getting to know the world, how it works, the politics of it, what it looks like, what makes it unique, and our main characters. So what I really like is that we instantly get straight into the action. Our main character, Cas, is on this mission with kind of like her crew, and they're going into this area and there's a lot of like mystery surrounding it. We learn a lot about like, there is like some magic going on. There's this guy known as the Kin Emperor, and he's kind of like in charge of everything. They were basically hired to look into this one area to find out why the Kin's guards are like going over there, because they should not be going into this particular area. So the characters kind of investigating, and this is where we learn a couple of things. We learn about who our main character is, and that she basically lives with this like faded sickness kind of thing. And what's unique about her is that she actually survived this sickness. And so it's evident that her hair is pure silver, her eyes are silver. And usually people who have that, they pass away from that. They don't live as long as she has with it. And so it also means that she has like an immunity to certain things. So she's able to fight in this like kind of misty area with like some yucky stuff. I don't really know what the yucky stuff was. It's some magical thing in there. And she ended up fighting against Captain Elander, who we know is a very important character in the book based on just like the back here. And so they had like a nice little fight, and that's where we learn about who our main character is. And then she managed to escape, and then we end up learning more about her crew and kind of like the relationships and who she was before this and how she ended up being involved with this, and like who her mentor is. And her mentor is pretty much like an adoptive parent, and so she's been doing these like really risky things, working with this guy named the Dark Hand, who's like, honestly, he's pretty creepy. He's like a creep, and then he's also creepy. And so he's pretty much like the black market guy, I guess. So she buys these like super rare flowers off of him, which are the only thing that seem to be able to at least slow down her mentor's sickness. So her mentor has the same sickness, but it's affecting her, but obviously it's not affecting Cas, who's had it like her pretty much almost her entire life. And so it's really interesting to see kind of like what the sickness could become and how she's like doing these really risky, dangerous things to protect this person that she loves. We learn more about her people, like people on her crew, and that they're all like good friends and stuff. And so I really like that. I liked how different they are. There's like elves, there's like different people with different powers. So like there's this whole system of like gods. And so there's like the fire one. So one of the characters can use like fire stuff. But even if you don't have these like special powers, you can illegally buy spells, and they're like these little like diamond things, and you can like do stuff with them, but you have to like know the words to use them. So you can use pretty much anything as long as you know the words and where to buy them, but it's like super illegal in the world. And so Cas ends up stealing from, she doesn't even realize at first who it is. She steals from Captain Elander, and she does that by pretending to be like hired company. And so she like kind of comes up to his room and stuff because she sees him staring at her when she's at the bar. And so basically finds out like where he is and is like, oh hey, like people are paying for my services to be here. And so she ends up like having like a bit of a moment with him and steals from him, and then she gets away with it. And now him being the captain of the guards and like all these other people are now like trying to find her and chase her because apparently she stole and sold something really, really important. And so that's where we're at right now, and I'm excited to see like how their paths are going to cross again. I think that it's going to be really fun because right now it has like an enemies to lovers feel, and I'm like, yes, I love enemies to lovers. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now. Like I mentioned, it is a bit of a slow start, but I think that it's going to start to pick up now that I'm starting to be familiar with the world and the characters and how everything works. So yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm going to continue to read The Song of the Marked, and I will update you when I'm about halfway through this book. So I will see you then. So I'm now definitely more than halfway through The Song of the Marked, and I think that it has all the good elements to be a really good story, but there's something about it that's not like connecting with me, which it's hard to explain like what it is, because I think that it's like a really cool concept. You have main character who has like some mysterious like sickness and a lot of mystery to her. You have the brooding man, and they're kind of like enemies, but I felt like there was no like chemistry between them at all, and I was really disappointed, and like I just wasn't really that invested in them. And then I like as well that the main character, she has this nice big group of friends, and I like that they're all different and that they've been together for a really long time, but the connection that they have doesn't feel real. I think that's the issue I'm having reading this book, that it doesn't feel real. It feels like stuff is just like it's not developed enough. Yeah, I think is what I'm having with this book. I think that the world is really interesting. I think the gods and all of like the different tiers that they have, and like this wolf shadow thing I think is really cool. And like there's a lot of really cool things, but I just feel like it doesn't feel real. But obviously like not like in the sense of like fantasy doesn't feel real, but like for instance, when I was reading Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, that obviously it's not a real world, but the characters felt real, the universe felt real. Whereas this one, I think that's what's missing, and that's what's making it a little bit hard for me to get through, because they don't feel like real people, they don't feel like real characters, the interactions don't feel like real characters, and it's disappointing because I really, really want to be fully invested and actually care. but I just do not care. So that's kind of the issue that I'm having right now. I'm still going to finish the book and I'll have like my final thoughts at the end as well. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'm dealing with right now with this book. So what's happened so far is that our main character has ended up working with Captain Elander, and he's like infuriating and is all like bossy and stuff, and she's like, I don't like that. So this character, what I actually really like about our main character Cas is that she has anxiety, and I love the way that it's portrayed and that it's like it's just a part of her, and I love seeing that type of representation in books, so that's definitely a bonus point. And so she and Captain Elander and like a bunch of his other like guards and stuff are basically investigating this sickness. And so Cas has been pulled into this because obviously she has that same sickness, but unlike everybody else, she didn't die from it. She's had it for like 13 years, I think it was. And so everyone's like, wow, like she's like a medical mystery. And they're like, maybe she can find like some way to help cure the empire of this. And so she's kind of adventuring around with this guy, and they're like investigating, and there's like these big monsters and stuff that come. There's some pretty cool fight scenes and kind of like some hints towards like what may happen. I'm pretty sure that she is probably the queen, because like the Kin Emperor mentioned that he had a sister who had magical powers, and so the parents kind of sent her away, and we know that Cas is adopted, so I can see that probably being the case, that she was adopted and she's probably like the Kin Emperor's sister is what I'm imagining. It would make a lot of sense. So yeah, she and the Kin Emperor, like they have like these normal conversations, and like he seems to be a pretty cool guy, but Captain Elander is like, no, don't trust him. Like he's not a good person. He's not like this. But yeah, it's interesting, that kind of dynamic where like the captain doesn't trust him, but Cas does trust him. So curious to see like where that's gonna go. And as they just continue to investigate, more stuff is kind of like coming to light of what this sickness is, where did it come from, why is it happening, what can they do about it. And so now the characters, they've kind of investigated, now they've kind of returned back to report what they found. But because Captain Elander doesn't trust the Kin Emperor, he's actually having Cas stay quiet about certain aspects of what she learned and what she kind of experienced there. So she's just kind of given like a little bit of info. And that's hard for her as a character, because she does seem to trust both of these characters. And so she's trying to be careful and figure out what cards to play. And so that's kind of what's going on right now. And there was a dragon at some point as well, where there's like this messenger lady who was like dropping off, meeting with the Kin Emperor, doing we don't know yet, and then just kind of like flew away on a dragon. So I think we're going to learn more about the other aspects of this world, and it is a series, so yeah, I think that so far there is cool stuff in the world, but like I mentioned, there's the lack of connection that I have, but I am still going to continue to read, and I will update you when I finish the book with my final thoughts. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, and I'll see you then. So I finished The Song of the Marked, and I'm definitely really disappointed about this book. I think that there were a lot of really good ideas in this book, and it was full of all the stuff that I really, really love. I love like enemies to lovers. I love lost royalty. I love magic, and like this a whole entire universe that has just been created from the author's mind, and magic and characters and friendships and like everything that I love. It's so weird because it's literally every single thing that I love, but it just didn't do it for me. I wonder if this book would have been better if it was written in first person, because I found there no reason for it to be in third person. Typically, I would find a third person book, you would have more of a diverse cast of POVs that you get and characters doing different things, but you're just focused on one character in this book, which is our main character Cas. And so I think that was part of it, where it just felt weird because it was like third person for one character, and I'm sure that books have done that before, but I think that's part of why I couldn't connect with this character. I couldn't connect with the character at all, to be honest. Like, she was very flat, there wasn't much going on, and she didn't feel real, and the chemistry and the relationship with Captain Elander didn't feel real at all. Like, she just instantly trusted him, and she instantly trusted the Kid Emperor as well, and he's the only character who had like a semblance of a bit of a personality, and actually he was like a little bit more real, but like not really. And not much happened. I would say the first couple of chapters of this book were really, really good. You start in this big mystery and you're like, whoa, learning slowly about the world. But then it's like nothing really happens. The characters just do things for the sake of doing things, and things kind of happen, but also like not really happening. And yeah, I was just really bored. I was bored. I didn't care. I wasn't connected. It didn't feel like it was well thought out or well structured. It kind of felt like this was maybe the first draft of the book, and it didn't get polished and cleaned up and pieces removed and places moved around and like all of this. And the like big plot twist at the end, I feel like wasn't even really foreshadowed. Like, it was like vaguely mentioned a bit towards the end. I was like, okay, I didn't really care though. So yeah, that was very disappointing for me because I wanted to care. I wanted to like this book, and I went through it and I was like, it's not for me. I don't know. I just couldn't connect with it. I think if it was polished and it was a little bit more time was taken into it to better flesh out the characters in the world and the universe, and reduce some of the lengthy scenes so it's more kind of like proper pacing, I think I would have liked it more, and I would have loved more chemistry and stuff. So yeah, even the spicy scenes were like just I feel bad, but yeah, this book's just So I'll be awarding the Son of the Marked a total of 2 stars. Not much else to say about it. Thoroughly disappointed. I don't think I'll be reading the rest of the books in this series. So the next book that I'll be reading is If He Had Been With Me by Lauren Nolan. I have heard really good things about this book, and I think it's kind of supposed to be like a sad second chance YA romance, something like that. So I really love the cover. I love the simplicity of it, and it really just captures my attention. So this is what I'll be reading next. So if you're interested in watching me read If He Had Been With Me or any other book that happens to be on my never-ending TBR, I did just order Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, so that's very exciting because that's coming today, the book, so I'll be starting to read that soon as well. So if you're interested in watching me read any of those types of books and you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!